Hi, my name is Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. There was a train crash in the Bronx a couple of weeks ago. And the driver of the train said that he had basically zoned out for a moment just before the crash. One source involved in the ongoing investigation quoted the driver directly as having told investigators, "I was in a daze in the moments before the crash." Asked whether the driver dozed off, the source said, "It's more like a highway hypnosis. You're looking straight ahead and you're seeing rail and rail and rail and you lose perspective." And I have some sympathy for the driver of the train because I've had highway hypnosis in my life. I've had those experiences where all of a sudden you're maybe driving along the 401 and you're going past Belleville and you're thinking to yourself, how did I get here? How did I get here? I have no recollection of that last 20 minutes of driving and what happened in those 20 minutes. And I think from my conversations with people, many of us have had that experience of being in a daze or being on autopilot, so to speak, and not really being conscious of what we're doing. You know, it's interesting, the Trillium mission is to awaken the Christ light in each other and shine it in the world. And there's a wisdom or an insight in this mission of us at Trillium that something pretty fundamental in us has fallen asleep, something very basic, something very essential to us has fallen asleep. And in some ways, we're in a daze. We're kind of half asleep. We're going on autopilot through life. Some haze of habits and expectations and grudges and other mental processes have caused us to fall asleep to ourselves. And of course, that's what we're looking at in the season of Advent here at Trillium, waking up to hope, waking up to peace. Now we're looking at waking up to joy. You know, to wake up to hope is simply to acknowledge that there is no circumstances in your life that you could ever find yourself in where there is not a way back or a way forward for you. There is truly a creative solution to every problem. Even death, by the resurrection of Jesus, is no longer a barrier to us. Death even has a way of coming back or a place of going forward through it. Death is not a barrier to the child of God, and if that's true, then of course nothing in life is a barrier for us. And of course, many of us live in the despair of the unchangeable nature of our lives. We're dealing with these circumstances. It really torments us to live in the unchangeable nature of our beliefs. And we need to wake up to hope so that we can see that, as I say, there's a creative solution to any circumstances we find ourselves in. Now, last week we looked up at wake up to peace. And peace comes from the knowledge of knowing who walks with you through life. The creator of the universe walks with you. How else could there always be a way forward or a way back in all circumstances? And that's where the peace comes from. Jesus called God Abba, Father, and he wanted to remind us, to draw us to our attention to the truth that the creator of the universe, that cosmic mind, that universal intelligence, that higher power has a deep desire to bless us. God wants to bless us with all the goodness of his love and let it flow over our lives. And God has this deep desire to only bless our lives. And if this is the intent of the Creator and God goes with us wherever we go, then what do we have to be afraid of? We have no reason to be afraid of anything. You know, it's funny, I was thinking of Mandela this week because of all the things that have been going on because of his passing. You know, he's been celebrated by many dignitaries and others. And the thing that strikes me about Mandela is after living in prison for 17 years at Robben Island prison and 27 years in total, he could have come out a very bitter and broken man. He could have come out filled with bitterness and hatred, a desire for revenge and vengeance on his tormentors. And he actually says, at the moment he was leaving the prison, he said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." His bitterness and hatred would call him to fall asleep to himself. And being asleep, he would still be in a kind of prison for himself, maybe a more powerful prison than even the walls of Robben Island prison. Mandela instead chose a path of forgiveness and reconciliation. And we honor that. He set aside all his grudges and all his desires, his vendettas, and he embraced the path of hope and peace for the world. And he offered his jailers, and he offered his tormentors and the society they represented a way back. He offered them an opportunity to come back. He said to them, you have a way to come back with me and with my people. And in the midst of all that, he brought peace to a nation, to a world hungering for peace. Today, we're looking at joy, how we can wake up to joy. You know, there's a certain freedom that comes from being released from prison. Not only a physical prison, but our mental prison, our spiritual prison, the prison of our hearts. When we leave behind bitterness and hatred, when we leave behind resentment and grudges in life, we are open to a kind of joy that comes upon us. Our hearts vibrate with this kind of joy. We see the path of hope and peace before us, and voila, out pops joy for us. I was watching Oklahoma, the musical, just a few weeks ago, and it starts off with that beautiful song, "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning." If you've seen it, you know that it's just an incredible song. And you see this cowboy riding on a horse through the most beautiful landscape, and he's singing this song, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a feeling inside me, everything's going my way." And I think people want that kind of joy in their life. Even in the hard places, we want to be able to sing out that deep joy that lives deep inside of us. We want our hearts to be free. Let the sunburst of light break forth in you. Embrace the ways of joy that are part of who you really are. You know, we're meant to live at that place of joy in our lives. It is the deepest part of ourselves. And you know, it's interesting, we come here to embrace not only the ways of peace and hope in our lives, but to embrace that joy that transcends our daily understandings. There is an opportunity for you to unleash that joy in you by releasing yourself from the prison of your thoughts. Set aside your grudges. Reconcile with your neighbor. Offer forgiveness to all the things that have happened to you. Seek out the ways of God in peace and joy. Know that this is your inheritance as a child of God. Let the hope of God, let the hope of the season embrace you. Let the hope of peace take a hold of you. Let joy burst out from the boundaries of your heart. Let it overflow. Let the sunburst light claim your mind this day and your spirit. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in love. Thanks be to God.